In 2015, a Pew survey announced that less and less Americans are identifying as Christian and that the US overall are becoming less religious. However, over 3/4 of Americans are still claiming some form of religious affiliation. From a European perspective, religion still appears to play a major role in US society. It influences politics, the economy, life in local communities, and impacts the discussions of many social issues. On the 2015 study tour, students of the universities in Leipzig, Germany and Kraków, Poland visited the cities of Atlanta, Birmingham, Nashville and Chicago, as well as an Amish community in rural Indiana. We wanted to experience the country's religious diversity and find out just how central religion is in people's everyday lives. The first stop of our trip was Atlanta, the capital of the state of Georgia and the birthplace of Martin Luther King Jr. The legacy of the civil rights movement and its arguably most important leader could be felt throughout the city. As we visited the Martin Luther King Memorial, his birth home, and the church he grew up in, we noticed strong ties between religion, church, and activism, a theme that would stay with us during the first part of our trip.
You know, I'm sick and tired of police forces in our nation merely arresting the Negro who is peddling dope. He's just out there selling a little dope, and those who are taking it, all that's bad enough, but they never bother the syndicate that keeps it going. I'm sick and tired of arresting the Negro who's a racket, you know, picking up numbers, and they don't ever arrest the folks who really keep the policy going. Now, you know where that is? That's often way up in New York. It's way up in very respectable structures of our society. So you end up arresting the Negro who's just trying to make him a little money, and you don't do a thing about the syndicate that's carrying the racket on and the policy and the dope addiction on in our society.
Pastors of the African American churches were largely paid by the congregation so they could come into their churches and they could say what they want, do what they want, talk bad about whoever they want, talk good about whoever they want without fear of having somebody coming along and sticking their nose in their business or lynching them or whatever for fear of what they said. So the church became a safe haven for African Americans.
You know, it's always good experience to visit some memorial place, some museum, but it's never such good as visiting their homes, their houses, the places where they live. That's why I think it was very inspiring place, very important for us to see in US. Because you can read books, you can watch movies, but we had a rare opportunity to walk the same doors, to use the same stairs as young Martin Luther King, and that's why I think it was a great experience, really.
Overwhelmed by the impressions of our first day, we visited Larry Foster at the Georgia Institute of Technology. Foster's research deals with Mormons and smaller religious cults, but his talk helped us to take a step back and consider some broader themes in the American religious landscape.
Maybe about half of Americans either go to church on Sunday or feel guilty that they're not going to church on Sunday. In Australia, I would guess it's 1 out of 5, maybe. I don't know about Germany or Poland, so it's surprising in the context, and very puzzling to many people in the context of the development of modern society, that at least this level of institutional participation and involvement is very high in the United States. Whether people are really religious or not is another question, or whether it's just something you do because of social reasons.